All right, so I'm just another middle-aged dude that's trying to get into World of Warcraft here in 2020. After avoiding it for years, I'm finally getting ready to dive right in. I wasn't intentionally trying to avoid it for years. When it came out in '04, I was getting ready to PCS, and that's a military term for permanent change of station. So I couldn't really play it then. Number one, I was PCSing, but number two, I don't think my computer at the time would have ran it. And then just throughout the years, like I'd always followed the game. It was that game, like I'd always follow the expansions and stuff like that, and had several friends that played it, and people I talked to, but I just never got around to it. As my mom told me, life is like a roll of toilet paper. It goes quicker the closer you get to the end. So I'm not getting any younger. And I figured, why not now just play it? And then, of course, right after I kind of made that decision to start playing that, the pandemic, COVID-19 starts, right? So that's kind of where we are right now. I'm going to go through some of this stuff on like why I chose to play retail over classic, because like classic was the catalyst that made me want to start playing. But seeing some of these videos out here and being new to not just World of Warcraft, but like PC gaming and in general, like that was just too much, man. I didn't want to do it. I was intimidated by that for sure. So this is something that a lot of you may not understand, but some of you definitely will, is like making that switch from console over to PC after not playing PC for a long period of time can be kind of intimidating, right? There's a lot to learn. There's, you're going from what, 7 buttons, 8 buttons to, 50. There's a learning gap there for sure. And so that was some of the problems I ran into. So anyway, let's get started. My time in the military, and then for sure the current real world situation, has proven that you need to be prepared, and I wasn't. 1, I was new to playing PC. 2, I didn't have a PC but a Mac. 3, my only MMORPG experiences have been limited to a couple of months with Elder Scrolls Online on the Xbox One X, and then Destiny if you count that, which, maybe or maybe not. The other problem I had was this stray cat that we have been taking care of decided to get pregnant and have 3 kittens in my house. I needed to try to capture all of this stuff, and I wasn't even sure where to even start. So after some trial runs, I found out that yes, my 2015 Mac can run retail WoW. Not exceptionally well, but at least I can play. It'll have to do for now because there's no time like the present, right? My other issue was I was trying to play WoW with the Magic Mouse and the Magic Keyboard, and soon realized that that was not going to cut it. It was too hard. My fingers kept sliding on the mouse, making random gestures. So something was going to have to be done. So I upgraded to an MMORPG mouse, right? The Razer Naga Trinity. And I've been using that for 2 or 3 weeks right now. And I've got to say that like it's hard to go back to a normal mouse after that. Even like my workstation mouse at work and everything feels like super flimsy and delicate and small. I don't like it. So it's amazing how quickly you acclimate to using upgraded equipment like that. Next, I ran across the Razer Tartarus keyboard, and I thought that it looked like it would accommodate my all thumbs ass fairly well. I'm still learning the full functionality of it, but it has helped me ease into this wide world in ways that wouldn't have been possible without it. So now I can finally play the game. So this is my journal from level 1 to 120 in retail WoW from a complete noob's point of view. So the choices start right away. Do you go with retail or classic? And let me explain for those of you who don't know. Retail is the current version of the game with all of the previous content and patches intact. Classic is the original vanilla version of the game, unadulterated by all of the changes that have happened since 2004. I decided to go with retail WoW. With the Shadowlands expansion coming later this year and the accompanying level squish, I thought this would probably be my last chance to experience WoW in its current form. And being destroyed by veteran WoW players and endlessly farming classic quest items just doesn't appeal to me. Plus, I imagine classic will be there unchanged for quite some time. The next major choice is character creation, which is not as easy as I thought it would be. There's a lot of bleed over between the classes and the races, dark elves and high elves, mages and warlocks. I truly struggled here, man. Like, thankfully, Retail WoW lets you try characters at level 110 to see if you'll end up liking them. Here is where I need to be transparent with you all. So as if all the other drama wasn't enough, right? Like with the COVID-19 thing, the cats having kittens in my living room, learning a new game, playing it on a new experience, like with the PC and Mac thing. Man, I had another dilemma I had to sort out. During my trials and tests, I did try WoW to see how I would fare with a mouse and keyboard, and then a little more with the aforementioned Razer products. And then I did a test record to make sure it all worked together, right? Well, add in a few beers, a glass or two of whiskey, and the results of these little tests caused me to have a level 38 hunter and virtually no video to show for it. So I was facing yet another hard decision. Do I start over with a fresh character so I can document the complete leveling process, or do I keep going from where I am? I'm gonna be honest here, so I'm mostly doing these videos for my own enjoyment. I'm not expecting a ton of views or anything like that with them. And I really wanted to document the experience for my own library of that experience from level 1 to 120, right? Just to kind of test myself and just have something to look back on in the future. But I did decide to sleep on it while I finished getting prepared for a possible quarantine. Yes, being older and with a full slate of responsibility means I have to prepare and plan my gaming these days. I'm always seeking balance in life, staying healthy, making sure my family's taken care of, and maintaining a career. It was decided I'd start a new hunter just for the sole purpose of capturing the entire experience. After some research, I saw that the Dark Elf race made the best hunters, but seeing as Uber Danger had already did an entire series on a scantily clad Dark Elf, I couldn't really choose a Dark Elf. They were out of the question. Death Knight was my second choice, but since they start at level 55, I didn't feel that was right of me to jump in with a level 55 character. A human mage and a gnome warlock were also in the running, but since you can't move while casting or do ranged auto attacks with either, I quickly skipped them and deleted those characters. Oh, now I have more choices, Horde or Alliance. I don't know, man, what has the better story? What has the better classes, better areas? This game is already stressing me out, man, on top of all the other shit in the world going on. I decided on making a twin brother to my original character. I named him Elucuy after the MMA fighter Tony Ferguson. I was watching the Tony Ferguson Habib press conference at the time.
What?
I felt like that was probably the right thing to do. Just name him Elucuy and be done with it, right? Just like Tony Ferguson, Elucuy couldn't wait to get started on his quest to become a top-level WoW Master Hunter. The going wasn't as hard the second time, as I had some idea of how to use a mouse and keyboard this go-around, although I am hoping I improve over the course of this series. But first, we have some ethical issues to deal with. See, World of Warcraft has these things called tokens, right? So you can buy a $20 token with real money on the Blizzard shop, and then you can sell it into the auction house in-game for about 145,000 gold. And you can use those tokens for more game time and things like that. So it's I think it's a good idea. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I think it's good because it allows people like me who do not have a lot of free time to save time by spending real world money on an item that I can sell for in-game gold. So because I'm not going to have the time to keep farming gold and all these other things. I would just quit the game. Like that wouldn't happen. So me personally, I think they're good for busy people. Now, if you're a diehard that just plays this game all the time, have been playing it for years, you probably don't like that. You probably feel like it's, somehow unjust to you or whatever. But, and I get it. However, Blizzard's a company that's trying to make a profit, and to avoid turning off more people, there needs to be some ways to get into this game and kind of not necessarily catch up with the experienced players, because you're never going to make up that experience gap, but to be able to do some of the things that some of the more experienced players are doing. I don't have any friends that were high level playing WoW at the time, so I didn't have to worry about I need to be able to fly so I can keep up with my friends or anything like that. But there was no way I was going to be able to spend weeks on weeks on weeks grinding out gold and quest and things like that to, get 5,000 gold. Man, it's ridiculous. So anyway, that's my rant on the ethical issue. I immediately went and bought one of those knowing that it exists and sold it into the auction house. So the big reason why I even wanted to get the WoW token and sell it into the auction house was so that I could buy Heirloom Gear. So Heirloom Gear basically gives you an experience boost across the board for different pieces of gear, right? But it's expensive. And all this was before Blizzard released the 100% bonus XP boost that they got going on right now, because so many people are quarantined in order to stay at home. So to finish that leveling set though, you need to get more gear from a guild vendor. So I sought out a guild using the in-game guild finder. I submitted a couple of applications and was soon accepted by Dragon's Eye. But it's not as simple as joining a guild and having access to their vendor. You have to raise your reputation with them. And one way to do that is by buying a guild tabard, which will increase your reputation gains by 100%. With all of that done, I could now start playing the game. One of the issues with playing WoW for the first time now is that there is no clear-cut path as for what to do. Again, there is overlap several times. I had active quests in multiple zones. I can't imagine that this will allow for a coherent overall story. There are several smaller stories that make complete sense in their very contained ways, but I really don't know how they play into the main plot. So I'll say this, like the leveling zones for the human race anyway are all amazing. They're really cool, man. Like they're vibrant, they're varied in a little bit of ways, a lot of stone and rolling hills and trees and things like that. So I really enjoyed all that. It was a true pleasure to be able to navigate those first few areas of the game, and going and doing quests and going into a couple of the caves and the mines and those different things. And I really had a good time in those first few hours with the game. So I had no problem when I started over again doing any of that stuff. And I would say early on, man, my biggest problem is like just that lack of a coherent story for a new player. It's just like you're whisking around from point to point with no overall story, which is kind of cool because like I don't feel like I'm like some hero of this war. I feel like I'm just kind of a foot soldier in it, and that's kind of cool. Or just a random conscript or whatever they're called. So in the real world, most of the city that I'm in, which is San Antonio, is shut down now. And I'm recording this a few weeks out from when I actually started the game. So there's some things that have been going on. But the kittens are growing up. They're doing fine. The mom is super annoying right now, but the kittens are cute as they can be. And they've been a pleasure to watch grow and have around as of right now. My daughter was able to actually stay home for an extended spring break right now. So she's been a big help in trying to take care of them. But they're still a handful, and it's still another stressor on top of a very stressful time in human history. It's very stressful. But anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. We're going to get into more of the actual adventures next time. This was just kind of the setup video for what was going on and kind of what was going to happen. So the struggle is going to continue next time. Peace.